interested to see how this is gonna play out, honestly. I really am. Because it's saying, I don't even know what this is doing right now, but it's doing weird Bixby shit. And I would like to remove it at this point. Cop gets fired after apologizing to Army Sergeant. I had cops come by to do a welfare check with Ian. I said he wasn't here. I was not going to deal with them. When they came by the second time to do the welfare check, they didn't care about him. They didn't. They walked him away with my stolen phone. Now I'm stuck in garbage right now.
What's your first name?
I don't have to identify myself to you, do I? Am I under investigation?
Yeah.
You want to tell me what's going on?
Can you confirm the address?
Can you come out here? No, she can't come out there. Y'all need to tell me what's going on. This is my house. Don't.
Copy. They're advising that this is not the right address. Hi, ma'am. Ma'am.
Y'all violate my rights right now.
Actually, we're not.
Yes, you are. Because
Yes, you are.
No,
Okay.
that
Okay.
is.
Listen, dude. We're not violating your rights.
You are.
How?
Because
Which right? Which civil right are we violating?
Why are you raising your
We're
voice?
not violating anything. Okay.
Why is he raising
So
his
we are
voice?
here
Are
on
you
a
threatening
welfare
me?
check.
I can go inside my
We are
house.
here on a welfare check.
Sergeant Hawkins asserts that the police are violating his rights, although he does not explain how, and the officers argue that they are not violating any rights by standing on his porch. The area immediately surrounding an individual's home, including the front porch, is known as the curtilage, and Supreme Court precedent protects curtilage as part of the home itself for Fourth Amendment purposes. In the 2013 case of Florida versus Jardines, the Supreme Court noted that, quote, "But when it comes to the Fourth Amendment, the home is first among equals. At the amendment's very core stands the right of a man to retreat into his own home and there be free from unreasonable governmental intrusion. This right would be of little practical value if the state's agents could stand in a home's porch or side garden and trawl for evidence with impunity. The right to retreat would be significantly diminished if the police could enter a man's property to observe his repose from just outside the front window. Nonetheless, under the so-called knock and talk doctrine, officers generally have the authority to enter a home's curtilage to knock on the door and ask questions without a warrant. The court explained in the Jardines case that, quote, "The knocker on the front door is treated as an invitation or license to attempt an entry. This implicit license typically permits the visitor to approach the home by the front path, knock promptly, wait briefly to be received, and then, absent invitation to linger longer, leave. Thus, a police officer not armed with a warrant may approach a home and knock, precisely because that is no more than any private citizen might do. However, this doctrine does not authorize officers to bypass the warrant requirement of the Fourth Amendment to conduct searches or engage in activity that exceeds the scope of accepted social norms. As the court detailed in the Jardines case, quote, "To find a visitor knocking on the door is routine, even if sometimes unwelcome. To spot that same visitor exploring the front path with a metal detector or marching his bloodhound into the garden before saying hello and asking permission would inspire most of us to, well, call the police. The scope of a license is limited not only to a particular area, but also to a specific purpose. Applying this standard, lower courts have found certain police behaviors to exceed the scope of the implied license to knock at an individual's door without a warrant. For instance, in the 2022 case of Cupp versus Smith, the Northern District of California found that an officer exceeded the scope of the implied license to knock when he approached the garage area, entered the garage door, spoke with the homeowner's worker, walked through the carport, and took multiple photographs of the garage and surrounding area. Similarly,
Illegal.
the Florida First District Court of Appeals held
No,
in the
you're
2013 case
right.
of Powell versus
That's
State that an
illegal.
unconstitutional
Same if
search
they do that
occurred
to
when
your
police
car.
officers stepped off the
Any
front
of
step
your
of a mobile
property.
home and looked into a window they could not see through from the front
That's
step. The court explained that,
illegal.
quote, "Even when governmental agents are engaging in otherwise lawful
Those are
knock and
illegal
talks,
search
they can
and
exceed the scope of a
seizures.
reasonable
You don't
visit
give
to a
them
front door or
permission.
porch
That's
through physical
illegal.
actions that encroach into
But
areas
if
in
you
which the
do
resident
allow
has a
them to
reasonable
enter,
expectation of
that's
privacy."
legal.
But the decision also noted that, quote, Quote, under certain circumstances, implicit permission may exist to look through an uncurtained window while standing on a front porch momentarily to see whether the resident is approaching the door, assuming no unreasonable means or devices are used. In this situation, while a court would almost certainly conclude that the officers did not violate Sergeant Hawkins' rights by knocking on the door to ask questions, it is less clear how a court would view the officers walking over to look in and knock on the front window under the walk and talk doctrine. However, as we will discuss later in this episode, a court would likely determine that this was not a violation of Sergeant Hawkins' Fourth Amendment rights under the exigent circumstances doctrine.
Hey, I don't know what that means.
Stop talking, let me talk.
I don't have to stop
child
talking.
that
Okay.
suggested that it,
What? I don't like
a
it.
person
He's raising
that
his voice at me right
ingested
now.
or nail polish. Okay?
Okay, so we're
We come here,
here
your
to
baby's
check
right
on
there.
Okay,
your wife.
I'm going to talk to you. First of all, you came to my house and said, is that my girlfriend and my baby mama? That's my wife. So
Okay.
that's disrespectful starting off.
All right, sir. So,
That was disrespectful starting off. And,
okay,
and then
I
he's raising his voice at me.
understand. Okay, I understand.
So now I can raise my
So,
voice, right?
No, you can't.
What's his problem?
Okay.
Nah, I need your badge numbers. I'm sorry.
That's fine. I'll give you my badge number. But so the reason we're here is to
Now
make
you're
sure
telling me the
somebody
reason
is
after you told me to
okay.
eat it. So you told me to eat it, right? Marler?
I messed up. I apologize.
Now that you on film, you messed up. So you haven't violated any of my rights. The first thing you said to me coming here was, is that my baby mama or my girlfriend? Then he started raising his voice at me.
From North Bay.
Pause. I need your name and your badge number.
Officer Conma, 107.
Thank you. I need your name and your badge
Officer
number.
Miller, 102.
And she's at my window. I told you not to go to my window. Close the blinds.
Do you have a 14-year-old son?
Close the blinds.
Hold on, sir.
Close the blinds.
Sir, do you have a 14-year-old son?
Close the blinds. Close the blinds. I'm not going in the
Are
house.
your
Close the
children okay,
blinds.
ma'am? Are your children okay?
Okay.
Do they look okay, guy? He's asking if my children are okay. Who is that?
Okay.
What are y'all talking
We're
about?
gonna leave now.
Give me 1
Why? Because I
second.
gotta eat. That's why you leaving
We're
now?
gonna leave now.
Damn.
Phone charging slowly. This is the fastest phone charger on the market.
There's a 90